Alright, here we are again. We are looking at our enclosure, and we are going to make a couple of changes just before we start, because if we have a look... Oh, hi Connor. Sorry mate, I should have said. If we have a look here at this one here, it's a lot longer than ours, so we've got to extend that out. And it's also got these little uprights that I think we should make first, which are holding it off the ground. And then I think we might have a crack at the stairs. And once we've got the stairs, we will be able to put in our rail up here. And we only do a little bit. You'll be amazed how fast this happens because we've got the mirror modifier on, so we're actually only going to have to make half of it because it's already cut in half. So actually we need to make a quarter, don't we? Because it's cut this way as well. And I'm just scribbling all over our picture. But then once we've made our fence here, this rail, we should go and grab that upright, the cap that we had for our fence, and we'll make these ones. And once those are in, we'll put in our crossbars, those thin little crossbars that you probably see a bit better from that side over there. Put in those ones, and we'll see what the time is and how long it has been. Okay, we might even do it in two parts, we'll see. I'll try and move along reasonably quickly just with stuff that's really quite simple. This one down here, very simple to start with, and we'll put a pole in there. This is only just going to be, I think, 3, maybe 4 cubes, and just stretch them and put them into place. We'll lift it up a bit, stretch the whole thing out. Alright, let's have a look. That's right, first of all we are going to stretch the whole thing out, and because we are in solid view, if we tried to select everything to stretch it, we wouldn't get these points underneath, which would make it look distorted. So we're going to go into top view, that is pressing 7 on our number pad, or we can go to view, top, number 7 on the number pad. You can see all the numbers there. And we are going to go to wireframe view next to edit mode. We make sure we're in edit mode and go to wireframe view. So we want to leave these vertices where they are in the center, so they're still connected across our mirror. We're just going to move everything up here. And if I go box select, put my mouse up here in the top right hand left hand corner and stretch it down, but don't get those bottom ones on the red line. We've got everything there, and then we'll just stretch it out. And it's doubled. Everything we move is doubled because it's mirrored, so I don't think we have to go that far. Let's have a look at what that looks like. Maybe a little bit further. Yeah, something like that. That looks pretty good. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we want to lift it up. We're going to put the bricks underneath, the stands underneath. So when we're moving everything up, we're going to want everything. So let's go box select and add that to our selection. So if we do a box select, it just keeps adding everything we put a box around. I'm going to show you something really cool just while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to press A to deselect everything, and I'm going to press C for circle, and I can just paint or just run over, holding down my left mouse button, and I'm just scribbling over everything in wireframe view so I get everything, and then I can right click and it will go back into move, and I got everything selected. So that's C for circle, circle selected. Just very quick way to select particular things, or if you want to get really accurate, if you wanted to just select this or something like that, and be very accurate that way. So let's move this up and just keeping very careful not to go off that Z axis. We'll go there for the moment. We can adjust it later, and maybe we're getting a bit original, take it a bit higher than it would otherwise be. Let's go back to solid view. So next to edit mode, solid, and I'm going to think about where we're going to put these cubes. At the moment, I think what we should do is get our cursor, that is our little red cursor, to this vertex here, because we'll put one more or less in the center, but we'll put it in there so we know that it's right where we want it to be, just under here, and then we'll adjust it from that point on. Or, just as I think about it, to make sure that it's on the ground plane, maybe we should put it in its center here and add a plane and extrude the plane up. That way the bottom of our stand will be right on the floor plane, and we won't have that issue with the cubes that appear under the floor plane and you've got to adjust it. Let's do that. Let's go cursor to center, Shift S, and cursor to center. Let's add a plane, and it's under our thing, so we could probably just sit like underneath it like this and add a plane. Let's go create, add meshes. That one was closed for some reason. Just hit the little triangle to open her up. Add a plane. Much too big, so we're going to scale it in. Let's scale it using our tools. We'll go on the y-axis to about there, and on the x-axis we'll go to about there. Now we'll move it out into position underneath our stand. Nope, went too far. Let's look from that direction. I'm going to pop it just under there, just so he disappears underneath. I think that's nice. And I'm going to scale him in a bit more. This time I'll just press S to scale, hold my mouse about here, S to scale, and just squeeze him in on all those axes. Excellent. Now you notice that it isn't being mirrored, and that's because it's already crossing the line. But if we move it out this way, there's our mirror. So we're making 2 at once at the moment. We're actually making 4 because there's a couple over there as well. So this isn't going to take much time at all, as you can see. Let's in face select, we've got our face selected, and let's extrude him up, E to extrude, or we can go to the tools panel and click extrude, either one of those two. Let's go E to extrude and move him up. That looks pretty nice. Now, just to be interesting about it, it does look like the bottom of these, you can't see very well there, can you, because I've made a bit of a mess of my picture. Let's zoom in. Looks like the bottom of our, I'll get rid of that, and draw and erase all of there so you can see what I'm talking about. Excellent. All right, good. Over to my pen. So it looks like the bottom of this is wider than the top of this. It looks like it sort of angles in. You can see a bit of a triangle sort of shape there. So let's squeeze the top in to make it smaller, and then we'll just duplicate it across the length. We'll go 1, 2, 3, and that will be us done. Unless we want to put one around here, but I don't think we do, because we've got this here and we've got this here, so we will just put it across the front. That's nice and quick. No one's going to see it anyway. Nobody see those other ones. So we know we've got that top selected. If I jump into wireframe, I've got that top selected. I can see it there, and in wireframe, let's scale it down there. So let's hit S and move our mouse in. That's a pretty nice shape. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now all we have to do is duplicate it. We can hold our mouse over one of those dots. I think you hold it over one of the dots and press L. We could also just select all of those faces, but we've got to be careful not to select the faces behind where we're working. Yeah, so we've got all of those there, and in wireframe so we can see what's going on underneath this, otherwise we'll be sort of flying blind. We shall duplicate, and we could hit that button there and it'll go all over the place. So I don't want to do that. I'm now going to right click to send it back to where it was, but it is still duplicated. I didn't place it anywhere, I duplicated it, I sort of moved it away a bit just to be sure it was duplicated, and then I right click to send it back, and it's right back in position. So now I can really carefully, using just the green on the y-axis, move it up. And that means it's going to be right in line with that one, it's going to be at the right height, I'm not going to have any problems. I can see it mirroring on the other side there. Let's go a bit further and do another one. So we'll hit duplicate and sort of move it around, but right click, send it back to where it was. And if you mess that up, just delete what you've got there and do it again. Select this one again, away you go. I think you're pretty good, I'm never too sure. But you know, or Control Z, undo, best of the whole lot. So there we go. Now if I look at my grid here, I always look at my grid and say, how even is it between this one and this one and this one? It's not very even between those two. I might move this one up to about there. And now it's not too bad. It's actually, I don't want it that far. Let's go just there. That's nice. Yeah, I don't think anybody can complain with that. We're going to be putting a big object here, so it's not going to really affect that. And I think now, yep, it's time to put in our cylinder. So when I say cylinder, what I'm talking about there is the pipe underneath there. She's got a jagged rim to it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, or whether or not I'll make something of that. It's a bit, I don't know, low profile. Put a lot of work into something that nobody will ever really notice, but it's the little details that make these things come out, and I think it's important that, you know, if you want to finish with a good product after so much time spent, it's always good. Plus, if we make the pole here, we can reuse it again all up in here, so we don't have to keep making lots of them. It'll have it all there. I'm just messing around with my drawing there. I'll move that out of the way. Okay, so let's go. Where do we want to put this in? We probably don't want it in the center because we're going to add a cylinder for this one. What we want to do is we want it in line with these ones because it's going to go through the middle of them. And we've got some faces that can help us put our cursor in the right place. This face here, that dot is where I want it to go through. So I'm going to select that face, and I'm going to go Shift S, and I'm going to go cursor to selected this time. And there she is. She popped in right into the right place. And now if I add myself, let's go create and add a cylinder. It's much, much, much too big, and be very careful not to click anywhere just yet because too many faces, 32. Remember when we doing things like this, we don't need that many faces. Last time I chose 16. I don't even think I need 16, but I'll go 16. You could go as low as 8. Generally, 16's a good. You can be pretty sure if you got a close-up of it that no one's going to see any sides. So we'll go 16 there. Press enter, and let's rotate it 90 degrees. We want to make sure we go 90, and we're rotating on the x-axis, which is the red. So we'll drag down that x-axis. Now I'm going to hold down Control and watch down in the bottom left, there's 90 degrees. I was just looking down here. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go Control Z back again. Have a look down here. As I move it, I hold down Control. So I'm moving the X until there's 90 there. And if I release it and it says 90 there, I moved it 90. If I wanted to go to a different number of degrees, I could just type in, I don't know, 120 or something like that, 45. We'll be doing a 45 turn soon, so we'll do it that way. But that's a nice way to get your perfect 90. And now it's perfectly flat, and we need to scale it in. Let's go S to scale. Scale on all the axes. It's getting very small. We'll stretch it out. And I'm going to go a bit further. Let's go S to scale a bit more. All right, good. Now, I'm going to select the face there. Now, you've got to get in nice and close. So I'm going to hit the decimal point on my keypad with my mouse in this area. There I am. I've got that face selected, and I want to just move this face because we don't need extra faces here, so we won't be extruding. Let's move it out on that axis just till it gets to the mirror, and then we'll stop. Don't want to go too far. Now let's zoom in on this side. Hit that. You can press the number pad decimal point to really get in there if it's hard to see. And we come out the other side. Now I'm just going to stop as it reaches that corner, because we're going to get it to go that way and then that way, I think. Oh, we could leave it as is. I mean, on our picture, it does head off in that direction, and I'm assuming that it goes underneath and goes in that direction there. I'm not too sure. So let's do it. Let's make it go that way. We'll do it very quickly. It won't be, very quickly. All right, so what we're going to do, let's decimal point in on this thing. We're going to twist it 45 degrees. 45 degrees on the, on that axis there. It's going to be on the Z axis. But because we don't want to kink, we don't want to just go straight out that way. Actually, I might pull this forward a little bit more, just till it reaches, about there. That'll do. We want to go a little bit and turn that little bit 45 and then head off, I think. Do I? Let's try it. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to, first of all, we need more faces, because if I just head out on 45 degrees, it goes out and nothing's going to work. So I need to extrude this out. I'm going to go over to my tools panel. I'm going to go extrude individual, and I'm just going to move it out a tiny little bit, just a bit, like that. Now I'm going to rotate this 45 degrees. Now the reason why I'm choosing 45 degrees is because we didn't measure this one to 45 degrees. We did this a bit rough, but it's going to have to go 45 degrees and another 45 degrees to change that 90, because this is a full 90 degree turn. So two 45s, one here and one here, add up to one full 90, which will be going that way. So I'm going to zoom in. If you go at top view, we can hit 7 on the number pad. Oh, look, it's flipped it over. That's okay. And we are going to rotate this one. So go to rotate. We've got the face selected. And rotate it that way. Now I'm looking at my degrees. I can hold down Control to get exactly 45. It says negative 45. But that's fine, because we're going, if we're going that way, it'd be positive. That way is negative. And just thinking it's going to be a kink in it. Alright, let's have a look at that. Now it's kinked up, so let's move it out a bit further. Move the whole thing out like that. I'd prefer to size that up, but that's going to have to, no one's really going to notice that it sort of feels like it squeezes in on the edge there. I don't think. Maybe I should be moving it that way a bit. Yeah, let's move it that way a bit. That's the ticket. Something like that. So I just moved it on the x-axis and now it's straightened it up. And we shall extrude again. Okay, so let's hit E to extrude, or region. I think it'd be a good idea to do individual here. So it's going to go all over the place. No, that's perfect. That means that it came out on its normal, and its normal is pointing straight out from the face. So now, if you start moving it around here, we get a bendy pipe. Actually, I'm not upset with that. Let's do that. And we do another turn. Let's do the little extrude, E to extrude, come out a little bit. We're going to rotate 45. We're going to rotate on that axis. Hold down Control, 45, and we'll move it out and just adjust it a little bit. Out that way a bit. And I think we should come in just a little bit. And there is our full turn. And if we go top view, you can see that that is now straight up and down. I think we've come out a bit too far here. So what should we do? Let's go. I'm going to select this loop, hold down Alt, and I think, nope, that's going to select all of that. Let's go Edge Mode, I'm going to take this edge. So I clicked, went right in there. I clicked on that space, not up here so I'd get that edge. I clicked on that one there. Hold down Alt, deselect everything. Alt down, select that one. Alt down, select that. Oh, now I'm in trouble. I have to hold down Shift and Alt to get both. There's Shift and Alt. Now, if you have trouble with that, another thing you can do, make sure there's nothing in the background there. So just look at it without any of your other geometry. It can be mirrored geometry. You can't select your mirrored geometry. And let's do the circle. We'll go back to face and go C to select and just paint that. Get both sides. No black dots in there. I got both of them. Now I'm going to move them back in. Just a little bit. Go 7 on the keypad. Yeah, a bit further. Still not happy with this kink, but I'm going to live. I'll go up a bit. Yeah, that's fine. And now let's select our face that we're extruding out to the end. There she is, just that one. And let's press E to extrude rather than click the button. E to extrude until it meets our mirror. Out there. Beautiful. Okay, so that is that. Let's go back to solid view. Solid. And we're pretty happy with that. Let's do the stairs. The stairs are good fun. We are lucky with these stairs. Now, we can't be sure that that's 45, but it doesn't matter because that is at the right angle and we can duplicate that. And it's about the thickness of a stair. So we're just going to select that one face there. Could be any one of them actually. You could go thick stairs if you use that one. We could take this one and size it up a bit later, but we're just going to take this stair and we're going to go Shift D to duplicate, or you can just click on duplicate up here and it pops out. We don't want to make it move. So we're going to right click it back into position. We can move it anywhere, but right click when we release this one. Just right click and bang, she's back to where she was. It's not connected, but it is duplicated that time. So here's where it gets interesting. Have a look at these arrows. When I try and move these arrows, it goes off center. I don't want it to do that. I want it to come straight out on that angle. And the reason why these arrows are facing in these weird directions for us is because that's the global straight up and down. I'm going to go top view and look at that. That's the x-axis, that's the y-axis, the z-axis is straight up, but I want an arrow that points out, straight out that way, in the perfect line for me. Now it's very easy to do, and it's something you've been looking at for a long time, and it's this one here, global. Global means we just move on the world x-axis, and that's the y-axis of the world, these lines here. We always move on those lines here. But this has a normal. I'm going to show you the normal. If I just go, here we are, normals, right here. Look at that. Look at that line. That's the direction of the normal. And if you want to move it in the direction of straight out from the face, you just change from global to normal. And now my arrows have changed. I now have an arrow pointing out along the normal, and that's for this one it's my z-axis. Doesn't really matter, I just want the arrow there. So I'll get rid of those normals because they tend to annoy me, but very handy to see. You can look down in there, look at those normals coming out directly from the face, and that's where our colors go as well. So sometimes you'll get a normal that's poking back inside your model, and that means that you can't put a color on that face. You can only put it inside the model that nobody can see. So what you do for that is you go to UV shading and you flip direction, but we won't do that for the moment. We'll deal with that later. So back in tools there, and we are going to, let's have our first step, because we've just got this one piece here. Let's have it extrude out a little bit. Oh, wait on. Let's have a look at our picture. Our picture, it didn't extrude out. it just straight along there and then it goes down. So let's just do it that way. That's simple. We can do that. That won't be a problem. It will be quite simple. Let's go. Okay. We'll move it out a little bit. This is our first step. And we'll move it down a little bit. About there. And now we're going to extrude out on the normals. Extrude that way. There's our step. And that is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to duplicate that step. Now I think from my picture the steps are underneath each other a tiny little bit. So I'm going to come, they're pretty big steps, I'm going to come out a little bit and now I'm going to select everything. I'm going to hold my mouse over the object. I'm going to get rid of those normals. I'm going to hold my mouse over the object and I'm going to press L. Beautiful. And now we are going to, you guessed it, oh look at that, look at where all my stuff's gone. All my arrows are out of whack and that's not the way I wanted it all because these have different normals. That's a normal and that's a normal. So everything's going to get thrown out. I'm going to see whether or not I can get local. No. View. No. Gimbal. No. And normal. Okay. All right. We're going to do it every time the same. We're not going to select everything. We're going to select this face. And I wonder if there is a way I can do it. Because I want all my steps to be the same length. Oh, I know what I can do. I've got a fantastic idea. I'll show you what else we can show. Let's show the length. All right. Now we're in business. Have a look at that. That's the length of our side. This is 30 centimeters in real world. The scene is set up, I believe, because I've usually got it set up this way. My scene is set up using, it's not using no units. Let's use metric. Excellent. I knew it was 30 centimeters. Change to metric. I just went to all that little shapes there and I chose metric. If we were American, we'd go feet and inches, imperial, but we're metric, we follow the French. So that's our one. Let's select this face. We've got normals. We're moving on the normal, so our arrows are good. And let's move it back. I'm going to hold down control. Nope, that's not going to help me. It's going to lock. Let's go. I'm going to go roughly for this first one because I didn't think about it earlier. I'm going to roughly 30 centimeters. All right, so roughly 30 centimeters. Now I'm going to Shift D to duplicate. We can just click duplicate. Let's click duplicate. Move it anywhere, but right click it back. Now let's move it down, directly down on the normals, and just in there a little bit because they do overlap a little bit. Maybe I need to go further. How many stairs am I going to do? Let's go down a little bit further. And we will extrude it out. But this time, as we extrude it out, we're going to watch the number that appears on this edge because we want it to be more or less 30. Let's go E out until it gets to 30. There she is. 30. It's pretty good. I might be able to adjust it. What's that? Yeah. No, I'm not upset with that. Let's have a look. 30 centimeters, nothing wrong with it. Let's select the next face. We'll go duplicate and move it out. Let it snap back with right click and move it down a little bit and move it under a little bit and extrude, E to extrude or extrude individual or region. Go to 30. Now you can just do this by eye, but it's really good too. When you get up there, you start really looking at, so we could look at these angles and watch what the angles are because they'll tell us what the 90-degree angles. I'm trying to get a grip on angles at the moment, but we find the area of this area. It is 3,759 square centimeters for area. That is just too cool. Let's go. This one, Shift D this time to duplicate for me. Shift D, right click, snap it back, move it down, move it back under a little bit, and a bit further down. We can always change the height of them. I think that I'm going down too slowly. E to extrude. Go for 30 along that edge. Go, 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 go. 30. Back a bit. Forward a bit. Back a bit. Forward a bit. Yeah, back a bit. That'll do. It's less than a centimetre. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. We'll go E, Shift E. No, I don't want to Shift E. Oh my god. Control Z. I just made extra faces, mate. Have a look at this. I went Shift E to extrude, but I wanted to duplicate. And there's probably some rogue faces in there. So I'm going to go Control Z. Nope, I was okay. Fine. E to extrude. Yeah, 30. Sorry about that. A little disaster. There. And what about another one? Yeah. Shift D to duplicate, right click, put it back, down, and back, and E to extrude along the normals. Roughly 30, 30, 30, 30. Yeah, that's not too bad. How close to the floor are we? Alright, we're going to go another one. Probably another 2. Oh god. Maybe I can move them down a bit. How many do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can afford to have another one before I'm going too far. Let's go. Shift D to duplicate. Let it snap back with right click. Down. A bit further. Back in. And E to extrude. Hit 30. Where's that one? This is a rough one. Alright, I'm going there. That's good. Pretty happy with that. It's still too high. I think we can get another one. Or we can do this. We can... Which ones? Oh, look at that. That one doesn't have much of a gap at all. Alright, let's click on that one. Let's get rid of those lengths. Undisplay lengths. Let's go. Click on that one. L, while my mouse is over that dot. L. And I'm going to get this one as well. L, L, L. Everything's going to come down first. Because if I move this one down, it's going to be closer to this one. And it's going to be closer to this one and this one and this one. So let's do all of these. Down a little bit. And now let's select just one. And L on that, L on that, L on that. And pull those down a little bit. How close to the floor? There we go. Now that one's where I want it. And right click on that one. So nothing else is selected on this one. That stays. And we go L and L. Move that one down. And I think this last one's going to hit the ground. So we'll click on the top of it. We'll press L. And we'll go all the way to the ground. Can't really see where the ground plane is, but I want it to be fairly low. Actually, I'll bring it up a little bit. I'll have it just above the ground. I think theirs does as well. So now we need the sides, and have a look at that. Our fences, our stairs are duplicated in all 4 angles, and that's exactly what we want. So let's put, if we have a look at our, I'm at 33 minutes. I'm just going to do one little bit more. Just going to do that stretch there. Yeah, just that won't take very much at all. We're just going to duplicate some faces that are already on that line and extrude them out. So, which ones can we use? Let's have a look. Interesting. Interesting. That face, and any one of those faces, is on the right line. It's that way. So, let's duplicate one of those, shall we? Let's go. We'll just use this one. Duplicate, and move it away, but snap it back, right click. Right click to snap it back. Now, obviously, it's not on the right angle, but we've got the normals. The normals still selected down here, so we're still working in relation to where this position is, not the global. Let's rotate on its x-axis that way. Something like that. We can adjust it later. And let's extrude out these edges down the side. Now we've got no depth to it yet, but we'll do that bit last. We'll just get it running that way, and then we'll extrude out that way. So let's go edge select. I want to go that one. I want to move because they're going to be, that red arrow is going to be the way I'm going to stretch this out. And this time we're working in edges, because I'm going to take just this edge, move it down there, just that edge, move it up there. So let's go edge select, the middle one. Don't often use in edges, but sometimes you do. I select that one edge, being very careful not to select any of the other edges around here. I just want that one selected. And I'll move it down to about there. And we'll move this top one, make sure that one's selected, up to about there. So, having a look at that, I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably going to turn it a tiny bit. So I'm going to put my mouse over it. I'm going to select L. I'm going to go to rotate. I'm going to use this blue one here because I'm just going to bring it down at the top a bit. Yeah, something like that. That looks pretty good. Also, I'm just going to squeeze it in. I think it's too thick. So let's go scale. And always, this normals is so handy. Yeah, being able to work like this, bring it down a little bit, very, very handy. Next thing we want to do is, I think we should just extrude that out. I'm not sure about this top here. I'll show you this top. Can I show you this top? I'll show you this top. No, we'll work it out later. I'm just going to move it up till it gets to there. If we want to change it later, we will, but it sits in a groove there, and I don't want to spend too much time on things no one will notice. So we're going to extrude this face. Let's go face select. Oh, yeah. Select that face. That's that dot there. You look amongst the dots because they're overlapping now, but that's fine. And E to extrude. Give it some thickness. Now we're just going to duplicate it on the other side. See, look at that. That's that stair popping out there. I'm not happy with it. I think I'm going to have to move it up a little bit. I'm going to select that face and I'm going to move it up. There. Yeah, that's much better. Much better. Still not on the right angle, but I'm still happier with it. It's better. Let's select the whole thing and duplicate it on the other side. Let's go, what was it? L. Hold the mouse over one of the faces and press L. We've got nothing else selected. Let's go Shift D to duplicate, or we could press the duplicate button up there. And I'm going to let it snap back. Oh, no, 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 Mr. Sutherland, what have you done? These normals, again, we're using multiple faces, so our normals are all messed up. How can we deal with it? Let's move it over and see how it copes. See, look at that, it's out of whack entirely. Oh, how upsetting. Alright, we're going to jump back to global down here. I'm just going to put it in. Global. And we'll use these arrows. It's going to be annoying, but you can come in there a little bit. Is that too low? Too low. Out there. Not too bad. If we wanted to make this as a separate object and mirror that on that side and then join it to our other object, we could do that. I think that there's so many ways to do this sort of thing, and you've just got to say to yourself, okay, what's going to work for me? Is we could have done all sorts of things. We could have done an array modifier for making these. We could have done all sorts of stuff, but that is a pretty good half hour. So I shall press stop and produce, and I'll see you for the next one while we continue on.